welcome back everybody. Thank you very much for your contributions to the first half. I have to say I found it an extremely interesting discussion that we've had, and I'm sure all your views will be taken into account when producing both the planning policy and indeed some housing policy stuff as well. The next session is on affordable housing, and I'm going to hand over briefly to Keith O'Malley, who's going to give a little bit of a insight into what we mean in planning terms about what affordable housing is.
Can you hear me on this one?
This is working, yeah? Thank you.
Yeah.
Just briefly, Councillor, if I may, before I do that, I want to just to pick up on a fairly important basic point from the first session. There's a lady down here on the right-hand side who asked the point about whether we actually have any control over the private sector, and surely it's meaningless because it's nothing to do with us. I thought it was useful just to explain again what the basis of planning is. Planning is about planning permission. These policies guide applications for planning permission. Private developers are subject to our control. If somebody wants to build a private block of flats, they will only get planning permission if they comply with our policies. That's why this is directly relevant for private developments as well as affordable housing. Affordable housing, I'll try and put it in simple terms. Clearly, the market doesn't supply housing in a place like Westminster that meets the needs of all the residents. There's just not enough land, and therefore prices are very, very high. And therefore, and it's really the same in most parts of the country, therefore the planning process is used these days to try and get developments to provide both types of housing. It provides housing which is just sold on the open market, but also all types of affordable housing. So a developer either themselves building on site in partnership with a housing association, and housing associations have very tight controls through government agencies about cost levels and criteria for building the flats, and then the rents that can be charged. It may be that kind of social housing, or it may be other types of housing such as shared ownership. In effect, it's a whole range of types of housing which we achieve through the planning process, which is provided with a degree of subsidy and retained in that form through different legal arrangements, so it can't be subsequently sold onto the open market. I hope that's helpful.
Just to follow on what you said you left out the bit there about your Section 106 deals, which again is developers who are obligated to supply a percentage of their development for social housing, and yet Westminster Council has done, continued to do, and no doubt will continue to do for many years to come, accept payment in lieu of the social housing. Now, surely this is defeating the whole object, and the object is to increase the supply of social housing.
That's a very good question, and one that I should also have come back on. The policy is absolutely clear that we will expect affordable housing to be part of the development, and it's only in situations where they are able to convince us and independent consultants that it just is not possible to do it on the site for a number of reasons. Quite often, for example, the development comes forward on a site that used to be an office block, and if you take down an office block, we will not be able to prevent them building a new office block. That's perfectly possible for them to do, which has a very high value, and therefore if they are required to comply with our policy to have, say, 30% of the housing on the site to be affordable, it just won't happen. It will not happen, because the development will be worth less to them than just rebuilding the office block or even keeping the existing building. In those situations only, there may be a solution where they can pay us an affordable housing sum, which is then used by us through Fergus's team with housing associations to provide affordable housing on other sites. It doesn't go into some big bank account, it is used. Millions of pounds are being spent every year on providing affordable housing using that fund.
Can I ask? Yeah, no, you know when I first come in here and I said about the SW1, and it must be your office gave planning permission to the builders there? I can't think of the name, do you know where it is?
I think you might be talking about Grosvenor Waterside.
Well, yeah. What do you call it?
Grosvenor Waterside, I think.
It should be Grave.
You didn't get the depot.
Whatever, where the trains are anyway, they look onto, yeah? Who gave permission, and you're saying the builders that's there, what site was it before they got it? Was it an office block? What was it?
No, that one was actually a council waste depot, which was surplus to our requirements.
Well, then you're worse than what you thought. I thought you were. Go on, sorry,
there are 267 affordable flats being built in that block. Fergus is more able to tell you about exactly what kinds of things they are, whether they're a mixture of social housing and
Share ownership.
Shared
I know, I was there
ownership,
the other day taking inventory.
shared ownership is a very, very difficult thing to make work in Westminster. We're very aware of that. And intermediate housing, that's why it's such a problem, because in the end it has to reflect to a degree the market costs, and we're struggling with finding ways of
No,
making
I
that work.
understand that, love. I don't want to go into that. I
No.
want to go why you put people that you think social housing and share ownership, they got to be worse. Because there's no chance of that lot getting out. With the people that's got balconies that string across this wall, all glass, and you gave them the windows in the new blocks, whatever they're called, them blocks now, because they're building another lot, I know that. And in one way I'm glad, because maybe the people will go in there and add the burden for my granddaughter. But I wouldn't want it on that cost. But those block of flats, right, whoever said let them go, and now when it was your own depots, I think the council's got to answer something here for what the ordinary people of this country. Because you've put people in them blocks, and I'd love you all to go and see them. I don't know if you've seen them. Go and have a look at it and see if you'd like to live in the private sector in them. The other ones you will, what you walk through, but not the ones where they put the social housing. And the rents are £200 a week, plus your council tax, and plus your water rates. So you work that one out. Who is ever going to work in that block? Sorry now, I've had my speech, but that's what I'm saying. Can you answer me, please?
Can I just raise one thing with you? I've corresponded and I'm a so-called consultee. I'm a so-called consultee in relation to the South of England plan, or the East, sorry, what's it called? Strategy for the South East, spatial strategy. I sent them this document, fairly detailed, I won't go into details, and it has previous ones. And what I got back was that piece of paper. That was all I got. See it? There. I stuck it on the front. See? Now, if that's consultation, the whole thing's a joke. Because what they do is they simply say, write to you and say, we've had about 700 or 7,000 or 700,000 responses. We can't answer all of them. Yours is one of them. And here with our proposals. And then they thrust their proposals back at you and say, that's it. They don't discuss anything. They don't consult. Now, I spent my own money getting this lot through, and it's cost me £130,000 in my own cash so far, all told. Plus the fact that I spent my own time as an architect on work which includes drawing plans and goodness knows what over many years, proposing how we should create what I think is necessary, a new kind of city for the Thames, which will accommodate the overspill of London's south
Can I just step in? I thought you were going to raise these under the last question, because I'd really like to get
I
started
don't know
on
which
these
one to deal
questions.
with. That was my point.
That's yeah. I think if we
Well,
could
you're
start.
talking about affordability and all the rest of it. I'm trying to tell you that the way forward is to expand outside your area. That's all.
Okay, we can't control that.
No, I know you can't.
Yeah. We'll just get a walking mic. I think what we'll start with is the first question. Sorry, councillors, can you hear me? Am I loud enough? I'm just yelling at you all, sorry. And this is basically, as Keith said, this is to do with securing affordable housing off the back of commercial development. So requiring a percentage or a proportion of market housing being delivered to also deliver affordable housing.